Hey, Mystic Michaela spiritual family. Welcome to Know Your Aura with Mystic Michaela. Today, has your pet ever saved you, either physically or spiritually? Well, I asked listeners to share their stories of when their pets have saved them, and I'm going to read some of those remarkable stories and read some of their pets too. But first, hey, Scotty.
Hey, guys. All right, this is fantastic. I love these episodes. The Mystic Michaela spiritual family members are always asking me when it is going to be the next pet episode. It's fan favorite episode when we do these. But let's review, because we haven't done a pet episode in a while. So when you're reading a pet or an animal, what's going on there?
Yeah, and I've explained this in other episodes,
Yes.
but just for this one, I guess. Animals don't talk with words. They give like visions. So I'll see things in my third eye vision. They do a lot of remote viewing. So a lot of times I'll see the layout of your house or whatever's important to them. They'll show me like, this is where I eat, or, or this is the problem with going outside, or this is, and they'll also give me kind of, I get feelings about their observations of you. So I'll get a feeling of you, whoever I'm reading, like, man, she's nervous, or man, she's real anxious. And then come to find out, I'm getting a feeling, for example, a dog's real anxious on a walk. And I'll be like, okay, the dog is anxious on walks for you. Like, you're the one that's anxious. And then come to find out that the dog bites people or something,
Right.
So it's kind of like their point of view and how they project it onto you. And we can kind of figure it out backwards. They also give me like pain, like shadow pain, if they're feeling something. And this is the big one.
Okay.
Tastes and smells. And especially with dogs, I get a lot with the nose. So I'll start like smelling things or tasting things. And that's always interesting.
Okay.
But images, visions, and feelings.
You get a lot of funky smells coming through?
Yeah, like I just did a reading the other day and I'm like, okay, this is really weird. And I'm sorry. But I asked the woman, I'm like, is your dog like obsessed with your husband's feet? Because like I have this urge to lick feet.
Okay, that's...
And
was that TMI?
And she was like, yeah, he really loves, it's a weird thing of his. He just loves his socks and he loves his feet.
So let me get this straight. You got the smell of the feet.
I got this urge to lick.
Of the husband?
Yeah.
Of the person you were reading.
And I got this like, oh, it's just so good. Yeah. Thank God I know. See, this is what I mean. If you don't know you're psychic and you start having these feelings, you can think you're nuts.
Right.
But like doing a reading and then saying that to somebody and they're like, yes, oh my gosh, makes me less nuts.
So the client was okay with you telling her that you were wanting to lick her husband's feet.
Well, I said like, I'm channeling the dog right now. I always preface. And like what I'm about to say is really, really weird. But here we go.
Okay.
I have this need to, through the dog, like lick feet. Like, and then his feet are just like, great, man. Like those are some feet.
This might be the most interesting segment we've ever done.
I mean, I'm telling you, not all, they don't, like people.
Yeah.
Some animals have more to say than others.
Okay.
Just like some people.
Do some not say anything at all?
Sometimes, it depends. Like with cats, sometimes, poor cats, and I'm a cat person, you can tell if they're kind of like off the street a little bit and they got more to say. Usually animals, or dogs too, usually animals that were strays or whatever are more talkative. And then sometimes the one that have been domestic their whole life are kind of, they're not as good at being as talkative to me. And when I say talkative, I mean project their energy as well. So it really kind of depends on, and I think people are going to be like, why is that? I think it's because when they're out in the wild or whatever, they have to fend for themselves. Like they have better abilities at kind of projecting to you or to me or to whoever's picking up energy, like messages and things like that. Versus when they're domestic, they're used to just kind of being like, serve me or something.
Okay.
But I mean, but just like I said, it depends on the personality too. Like sometimes the personality of an animal, is easier to read than others. Just they're more talkative.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense. I guess I'm trying to think, like, have I ever been able to read an animal?
Everyone reads their animals.
They do.
You all already know this because if you have an animal, you're reading your animal.
Okay.
You're talking to them because they talk in energy. It's just energy. It's not even psychic, honestly, you guys. Like, it's just energy. It's the language of energy. And being able to step in it enough so that you can communicate it objectively without bias. Yeah, there's a difference between me looking at my cat and being like, "You love me, you're my little
Right.
that kind of, or really getting what he wants me to pick up. But we all do it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you know the animal well, you're going to be better at this.
Oh yeah.
But you have this you're doing this off of a picture.
I'm always better with strangers.
Of a stranger's pet.
I'm better with strangers than usually my own.
Yeah.
But just because I am too a person and a human who personifies my animals. But it is easier for me with strangers. Yeah, a picture of a pet.
And it's just off of, I mean, it is fascinating, by the way. Off of it, because when they get, this person I got the reading just sent in a picture, I assume, of their dog, right?
Yeah.
It was just a picture of their dog. That was it.
Right.
And from that, you were able to get this weird thing that he likes to do.
Yeah.
That's mind-boggling to me.
But they're all doing it. And I think a lot of people also who work with animals, you kind of just know immediately, and they know you too. Kind of like the personalities are it's you pick it up easier. You speak that way when you're around it more fluently than if you're not. It just kind of it's hard. I know people get what I'm saying.
No,
you all read animals.
Yeah,
everyone
sure
can do it. You just have to step into it and pay more attention to it.
I mean, even I could do it because, let me give you an example.
Okay.
So we have a new cat here.
Cleo.
I forgot her name. We brought her in a couple months ago.
Right.
And we went to go, meet her for the first time.
Yes.
And before we had her come to the house, right, to live here.
Mm-hmm.
Freeloader. But anyway, so we got to the house, this person's house, to see the cat.
Yeah.
I kept, I don't know this cat at all.
Yeah.
Whatever. She looked nice enough. And I just kept getting the idea that she was I kept saying, "Oh, that's an outdoor cat. That's an outdoor cat.
Yeah.
That's a cat that's out." I didn't know what that meant.
Yeah.
I was looking at her.
It's a vibe.
And the vibe was like, that's an outdoor cat.
Yeah.
And, we obviously want an indoor cat, so that is going to stay inside because it's a pain when they.
We don't want to deal with a cat
right.
wanting to go out.
I know. That's just.
Yeah. So I understand.
Painful. So.
Right.
So what was I getting there? Was I just picking up something?
Yeah, well, Cleo was an outdoor cat. So you were picking up that scrappiness, that survival instinct, her looking at you and seeing you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, figuring you out, thinking. She's a thinker. And sometimes like those outdoor more feral cats, they're figuring it out. They're thinking about things, they're a little bit more sharp.
Right.
They measure you up. And they know, so you kind of pick that up. You were just picking up her vibe.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, so far, she's not actually wanted to go out, which is interesting.
I think she knows that it's not good for her out
so then
there.
I'm like, well, maybe my feeling was wrong that she wanted to be an outdoor cat. But she has like the tendencies still of an outdoor cat.
She does. She's a really smart cat, and I think she's smart enough to know that life did not work out for her out there at all.
Yeah.
Poor Cleo.
I would say of our three cats, Dusty.
Yes.
He's got some issues.
Poor Dusty.
And then Binks. She is the smartest.
Yes. IQ test.
But of course, she's replacing our very intelligent cat.
Yes.
Rocky. Oh, Rocky. We miss you, Rocky.
So I have to tell an amazing story about Rocky. Right. So we lost Rocky a year ago in May. It'll be a year. And it took us a while to get this cat, but we knew we wanted to adopt. And so people always say, well, how do I get signs? Where do I get my signs from? And I did a whole episode about all the signs Rocky was sending me. And then he got quiet for a while, which can happen. And that can happen because, I think they got their own things going on the other side or whatnot. But I got the biggest sign from him. So we adopt Cleo and we adopt her from Peggy Adams, which is a local rescue organization here. And somebody called from the shelter to check up on her. Okay. And they said, hey, my name's Rocky, just calling to check up on your new cat. Right there. The person who was calling randomly, like their care coordinator or something, was named Rocky. Now, to me, that was a sign. I took that immediately as, oh my gosh, like Rocky, either he's telling me you traitor or you traitor. But I got more like, hi, I see you.
Yeah.
And, I'm okay.
And let me explain the signs I got from Rocky. Now, I think we might have told this on the podcast before.
Okay.
But on the day that Rocky passed and the couple of days after. And now, let me explain this about Rocky. Rocky, very smart, intelligent cat, so he knew exactly what he was doing all the time. Would sometimes, when he was annoyed, pee on things.
Oh.
Specifically, pee on like my books or Bree's books or an article of clothing that you like. Very specific. He did it on purpose.
He would pick something out that he knew you liked.
Right.
It wasn't random.
Now, the prince over here, we call him Prince Binks.
Binks.
Just the prince. He's a purple pink.
Yeah.
If he had an aura. Decides out of nowhere, never peed on anything.
Yeah.
And actually hasn't since.
Right.
But on the day of Rocky's passing, and I think the day after, he starts peeing on my things.
Yeah.
So now, I am the biggest skeptic in the world.
Yeah.
But I believe that Rocky's spirit jumped into his body.
Yeah.
And peed on my things.
Right.
Made Binks pee on my things.
I talked about that in the episode.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. We've talked about it before.
Yeah.
But I had to say it again,
Because it was crazy.
And I believe that. Is that weird for me to believe that?
Well, no. You've been around this.
I don't want to believe that. I don't know. I'm a red aura. Come on. My cat that passed jumped into my cat that lives here and peed on my stuff. That sounds like a crazy person.
You want to hear one more?
Yeah.
My across the street neighbor who loved Rocky as much as we did.
Yes.
We were outside talking to each other the other day while the kids were playing. We were just sitting out there, and a bunny hopped really close to us. And then we both looked at each other and we were like, it's Rocky.
Okay.
We're like, it's Rocky.
Yeah.
He's saying hi.
Oh, yeah. There he is. In the form of a bunny.
I don't know. To us, we were like, yes, that's it. There you go.
Did the bunny try to bite you and scratch you?
Well, I have an amazing fun thing for you to do right now. I made 2 new quizzes on knowyouraura.com. I'm so excited about this. What is your dog's aura? What is your cat's aura? Now, I don't see auras around animals, but I think it's fun to talk about it this way because, if I had, we always say Binks is a pink cat. He's totally pink aura, my cat. Anyways, so go take the quizzes. Let us know what you get because I had a lot of fun making them.
All right. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, you're going to be reading the pets of the Mystic Michaela spiritual family.
My kids, probably most kids they're a little picky about what they're eating, and they are very adverse to trying new things. And I'm always desperately trying to figure out how to introduce them to a better, healthier variety of foods while also managing my own time and patience. Well, let me introduce you to something that has helped me so much. This podcast is sponsored by Nurture Life. It is 2025. Are you still feeding your kids like it's 2005? Nurture Life has a meal delivery service focused on helping busy parents easily feed their babies and kids from 10 months old to 10 years old. The company provides fresh meals and snacks that are delicious, nutritious, and fully cooked. That means they are ready to serve in just 1 minute. Nurture Life lets kids enjoy a healthy, nutritionally balanced diet while still eating all their favorite. My kids love the mac and cheese. They love the spaghetti and meatballs. They love everything. The corn dogs are their absolute favorite. So parents can be sure there's always something on the menu that their little ones will love. That's why Nurture Life is the top meal delivery service for babies and kids, and it's even allergy friendly too. Last night, my 10-year-old had the Swedish meatballs, and she could not be more happy. She was very pleased. And I love that Nurture Life's meals are made fresh every week, so they aren't frozen like those other meal kits. So what are you waiting for? Head to nurturelife.com and use code KYA for 55% off your first order. That's right, 55% off. Once again, that's nurturelife.com, and make sure you use my promo code KYA so they know I sent you. Even if you aren't a parent with young kids but know someone who is, make sure to share our code so our show gets the credit. We really appreciate that. Hey, Scotty.
Hey, guys.
Okay, so I asked the Mystic Michaela spiritual family over on Facebook, I asked them this. Did you have an experience with a pet which changed your life? Did your pet ever save you, either spiritually or from physical Harm, have you ever had a miraculous moment with your pet? And I asked people to add their photos. And as always, one of the best threads.
Yes.
I mean, I'm sitting there crying, reading these. I mean, it's just beautiful stories, beautiful tributes. But I wanted to start with Alyssa.
Okay.
Alyssa J. It's a picture of a cat. And she writes, this sweet girl, Peanut, actually insisted I was her mom. I was looking for an older baby because they're hard to adopt, but she literally grabbed me through the cage at 6 months. I had to go back 3 times. She was always purring at me. The rescue told me that was a sure sign she was my girl. She also saved my life. She protected me from my emotionally abusive husband. She would always put herself between us and stick close to me. I started seeing her hide when I wasn't home. She would guard the door of the room I was in and even started saying mom when I would leave. Some cats do, can really vocalize. It finally started escalating and I was really scared when he threatened to harm her. That was my last straw. I couldn't see my own value because I was so broken, but I would never let him lay a finger on her. We left and I have never looked back. I'm a domestic violence advocate now, and I now realize I had maybe days to live if I didn't leave. Her behavior worried me most, and she was who I had to protect. And because of that, in turn, she protected me. She's my protector and my sweet baby girl, beautiful inside and out. And she's a happy 14-year-old girl. And wow. I swear she's my guardian angel. And she put this picture.
Okay.
It makes me cry, this story. Like, I was really touched by this story. So I'm looking at Peanut, who does not look like a peanut. She looks like a tiger. She looks, and her energy. So just tuning into Peanut to me is just one of those cats that's not, I'm not scared. Like, I'll do anything for you. Like, let's go. She is the protector. Like, she read her, she kind of did the reading of the cat herself, right. Honestly, because that is what she did, everything. When I feel like she's just really happy with her mom herself. I feel like this is just, they're a unit. They have I think you can be soulmates with an animal. I feel like her and Peanut are soulmates. I do feel like Peanut understands a bigger purpose here. And one of the things I get on Peanut is this feeling that, I don't know what this means, but she lifted the energy or the vibration of Alyssa, her mom, up. So it's like Peanut wanted her to have that empowerment. Like, how animals just won't take crap, right. And it's like, she wanted Alyssa to get that. And I think Alyssa did. So she's not worried about Alyssa anymore. And I think that that's the most beautiful thing that I could pick up here, because that means that you're doing great.
Yeah.
I thought that was just a really cool story.
That is really cool.
So do you have one for us, Scotty?
All right, yes. I picked out Jessica H., and she writes, yellow turquoise here. Okay, this is Nalia, who has been my spiritual savior. I rented a home while I was traveling solo for a job, and she was living in the garage as an indoor-outdoor cat. From day one, our bond was something I'll never experience with a pet, and when I moved back home across the country, her owner, who was also very spiritual, let me adopt her and take her with me after Nalia told her she wanted to be with me. Oh. Now, this hits home to me because my cats also tell me, they give me messages. They've been giving me these messages when people come over, our friends or even the guy that, the pest control guy or whatever, or the Amazon driver, delivery guy. They tell me I want to go with them. Yeah. I want to go. Okay. And I feel I need to act on that and say, okay, yes, you do need to go.
You're saying that Nala's previous owner.
Right. Who's very spiritual. Very spiritual.
Was like, yeah.
Told
the cat told me.
Yeah.
Jessica, for you Nala wants to go with you now, Jess.
Nala told the very spiritual Nala told the very spiritual person. Right. Tell Jessica, I want to go with you.
Yeah.
And what's the new cat's name?
Cleo.
Yeah, Cleo has told me that message. She comes to me at night. She's like, I want to go with the Amazon driver.
We gotcha.
Okay. So all right. So she let me adopt her. Yeah. I would too. And take her with me after Nalia told her she wanted to be with me. She's my first cat and pet that was mine, and I swear we talk telepathically. Aww. So this made sense to me. So okay, it's interesting. Yeah. What do you take? What's your take on that? Telepathically talking. Is that?
Yeah, that's what cats do.
Is that what they do?
First of all, this picture of Nala that Jessica provided, I'm going to have to like share this on my stories or something. It's very artistic. It's just
it is really cool.
It is the most beautiful photo
It is a cool
I've seen
photo.
in a really long time.
Photo, yeah.
It's not even my cat, and I want to like hang it up. This photo is so good. Anyways, like Nala's vibe is very I feel like Nala is a wanderer, and you know, all cats like to wander, but Nala to me feels like she wanders with a purpose. And she wanted to go with Jessica because she knew Jessica would honor that, whatever that means. I feel like Jessica and Nala work because Nala is her own being, her own entity with her own, thoughts and purposes and whatnot. And I feel like Jessica like gets that. Sometimes we treat our animals like pets or our babies or our children, like things we have to, take care of and we know best. Or whatever. But I feel like the thing with Nala and Jessica is Jessica's like, what do you think, Nala? And I feel like Nala responds, and I feel like Nala tells her like, this is what we're going to do. And Jessica's probably like, all right, I respect your choices.
Do you get any...
She feels heard and listened to. Okay. That's what I get on Nala. Okay. And Nala feels like she's running the show there with Jessica.
All right.
Yeah.
Do you get any smells from Nala? No. Like the other the dog and the feet?
Okay. It's Nala.
Nala.
There's no I.
Okay. What do I keep saying?
And it's also our new cat's Cleo. It's not Chloe.
I keep calling her Chloe.
I know this is really hard. But now, cats don't really do that as much as dogs. Oh, that's usually like a dog thing.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
They'll do it a little bit, but honestly, usually it's a dog thing.
Okay.
And by the way, Nala looks like she would not partake in any of that.
Yes.
All right, let's see what I have next. I have one here from Diana. She writes, "This is Agnes. She is my best friend in the entire world, and I truly believe she saves my life every single day in ways I can't even imagine. A story that comes to mind is about 3 years ago. I had some sort of panic attack, psychological issue where I ended up falling to the floor and I couldn't get up. I was on the phone with my friend as it was happening, and she called 911 for me. Later, I learned that for some reason, the first ambulance never came, and they had to call a second ambulance. So I was on the ground for quite a while. My sweet angel kept barking until my neighbors came into the apartment to keep me company, called the front desk to call my parents, etc. I thank her every day for being there for me. I'm purple blue. And if dogs had aura colors, I bet she would also be purple blue. The other day, I was also thinking about what the names of my spirit guides are. And I had a sense that one is an elderly woman and one is a youngish man. And randomly, I thought that the woman's name is Agnes. I don't know if spirit guides ever have the same name as one's pet, but I laughed a lot and thought that must be her name. I'll start with the spirit guide thing first. Okay. That would not surprise me that a lot of us are attracted in some way to our spirit guide's name. The more in depth we get and the more connected we get in our own spirituality. So that wouldn't surprise me at all. But okay, so this is a picture of Agnes and Diana. Diana is purple blue and looking at little Agnes. Okay, this is what I got on Agnes.
Yeah, I think she's purple blue too.
Agnes would be purple blue. Agnes to me feels like, I don't know how old she is, but she definitely has kind of like an older woman vibe, like on a jog.
Yes.
And I get this energy, like she feels a little anxiety, a little bit. I feel like Diana, no offense, Diana, but your purple might be stressing out Agnes because I'm getting this immediate sense that you're a little bit like, where did I put this? Where is this? Where did I do this? What time is it? What's happening? Wait, oh, I'm late. Oh, I'm not late. Oh, I should go. Oh, I come back. I think kind of like just your purple wandering like around or whatever, because she's got to follow you. And then what's she doing now? And where's she going? So I think that there's not such a routine. It's not the word. She's just kind of like a little mother hen.
Okay.
That's what I get on Agnes. Like that's her puppy, Diana's her baby, and her baby stresses her out a little.
Okay. So what you're basically saying here is that Agnes wants, what was the owner's name again?
Diana.
Diana to wear a little GSD yellow.
Yeah.
She's like, I got to give you a little GSD yellow.
I think she'd like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
I feel like Agnes wears a little GSD yellow herself. I feel like she feels like she has to put Diana into a routine. I feel like she herself. Oh, I get the. Okay, this is a message I'm getting. I just got this random like indecision on Agnes's part, and I don't. And this would only show up in a behavior. So I get like her. I wonder if they go halfway down the stairs, and all of a sudden Agnes is like, "No, I want to go back." Or they go out to go potty, take the dog out, do their little walk, and Agnes doesn't go. And Diana's like, what the heck, man? And then we go back upstairs, and then she's like, never mind, I gotta go. I'm getting this kind of like weird, I don't know what that is. I'm getting this kind of weird, and I feel like it's on purpose for Agnes. But when dogs do that, you're like, is there something wrong with them? What's going on? Like that. But I feel like it's something that she's doing. And I don't know if it's just to occupy Diana's time or I'm interested to know what that is.
Okay. All right. That's real interesting. I'm curious too. All right. So next up, I have Julie M, and she sent in a picture of her dog, Leo. All right. So this is Leo. I always wanted a dog and finally got him at 37. I'm single, no kids, and he brought me so much joy. Bonus, we both love to nap. I am confirmed purple and blue. All right, so Leo. All right, so I'm looking at this picture, and I'm trying to do what you do, and I just he looks fun.
Yeah,
he looks kind of goofy.
Yes,
but that's all I can get.
Oh, really?
That's my reading. Like if like Julie came to me for a reading, I'd be like, he looks like he's fun and goofy, and then I think then she'd like hang up on me after that. Like, thanks.
This is what I get on Leo.
Okay, what do you get on Leo?
Leo has fully understood his importance. So Leo's come in. He's like, you are welcome. And I got you, Julie. I thank God for me. Here we go. Like, he feels very in charge, and which isn't a bad thing. Like, I think some dogs take that better than others based on their personality. But Leo, to me, I feel like he's like, okay, yeah, so he feels very excited. I do get it. I get he barks a bit. I am getting the barking. I feel like he does this as a way of there's something with, I know some dogs are like this, like if people walk by or he needs everyone to know this is his house. Like, that's a really big deal. And he needs everyone to know that that's his Julie, and that's a really big deal. And I feel like he expects to go with Julie everywhere. He's like, where are we going? Well, what do you mean you're not taking me? Of course I'm coming, like that. And I feel like he's definitely the dog that walks ahead of her and stuff like, if he was a person, he'd be red. He'd have a red aura.
He'd be a red.
But he feels like he's a lot of fun. He loves to play. He's a sweetie. He's very friendly. He likes to get to know everyone. He's a big smeller,
Oh, do you get any smells?
No,
from Leo?
she's I ran.
We don't want to have too much TMI on Julie here.
No, it's not. I was just randomly getting coffee, but like we all have coffee, but I don't know what that is. Okay. It's weird when they give me something, it usually means something.
Does that mean like Leo wants to be a coffee drinker?
No, I don't know what that is. I mean, I don't know if she's leaving it all over the place or I don't know. You know what I mean? But like, or he's associating that with something.
Okay. I feel Leo would be a coffee drinker, though.
He would if he were a person.
Yeah, if he were a person.
But yeah, Leo's like living life. He knows his role. He's like, you don't need anybody. We just got each other. And Julie's like, yeah. And he's like, yeah. Julie, so they're ready.
Julie and Leo.
I love that. All right. This next one really touched my heart. We got Debbie P. Picture of her dog. And she writes, my Ruby got me through cancer. Love her so much. She passed this year on Valentine's Day. Oh, and it's this beautiful. So I'm looking at Ruby. I get her just coming through with such gratitude. That's the first thing, because I feel like we had to say goodbye in some way. It does feel like a declining health situation, and it feels like Ruby was like, I gotta go, like that. And that's I don't know. And I get her just being grateful that she could be let go. And Ruby, to me, feels like she stuck around a really long time, much longer than she would have if it wasn't for her family. I feel like she definitely, like, Debbie was Debbie is Ruby's purpose. Dogs love a job. Dogs love a purpose. And I feel like her devotion kept her wanting to stay as long as she could. Yeah, but I'm getting things at the end just not working right. Like, I don't know, my back, this is where the shadow pain comes in, like the back of my hips and also like that part of my body feels numb as I kind of connect with her energy. And I feel like Ruby's just I feel like she's around a lot. I feel like there's some man, maybe this is Debbie's husband or something, because I get there's a man too, and I get like she's just showing me little walks they'd go on, and because I feel like she was there for Debbie for sure, getting her through her illness, but I feel like she was also there for other members of the family, just being like, hey, I'm here for you too. She was definitely just like a support animal, but that made her feel helpful. Oh, it was. I feel like Ruby had a really nice full life.
Oh, all right. Moving on to, all right. It wouldn't be a Mystic Michaela Spiritual Family pet episode without you reading a hamster.
Yeah.
Now, this is we had Hammy passed.
Hammy.
I don't know if anyone's ever read a hamster before.
Hammy.
But you did read Hammy to like just I don't know how you read a hamster.
I don't know
either. You did read a hamster.
I don't know how I read that hamster.
It was all accurate. Which just blows my mind.
Rest in peace, Hammy. He had a good life.
So, Hammy, you are, and I know, Hammy, I think you're coming through right now. That's why I'm a little choked up through this other hamster I'm looking at named Bean.
Bean.
But yes, Hammy, you are still the mascot of KYA podcast. We are not letting that go.
Right.
That you are still. All right. So,
Forever.
Lauren W. sent in Bean. Not my soul pet, but I still love him. Okay. So, this is not her soul pet.
Okay.
But she still loves him.
Yes.
Bean is a man of simple pleasures. Broccoli, corn on the cob, and avoiding all humans. They call them ghost hamsters, but he might just be indigo. So she thinks Bean is an indigo because Bean doesn't want to be around anyone.
Yeah.
All Bean wants to do is eat corn and be left alone.
I get that.
Which is like, I think, the normal hamster thing. But, I mean, there's only one eye. I know you need to see eyes.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
All right. So looking at Bean, Bean's really like speaking to me. Bean, the thing I get on Bean is that he likes TV time. I don't know if they bring him out for, we're watching a movie. I'll let Bean hang out, and give him a couple snacks or whatever. And I feel like he's there for it. You know those movie nights we all have where you're on the couch with your friend or whatever, your boyfriend or whatever. And it's just like, all right, everyone cuddle in like that. I feel like Bean's like there too. And he's real chill. And I feel like, he doesn't try to escape or he doesn't try to go anywhere. He just wants his time. That's kind of what I get with him.
Yeah, I feel he's a White Lotus fan. I think he's been watching like White Lotus. Lauren, if you could confirm that would be actually my greatest psychic achievement. I feel like he's just been watching White Lotus. There was an interesting scene the other day where a guy gave this weird speech. I think he was enjoying that speech.
He looks like he could hang.
Yeah.
Bean can hang.
He just doesn't want to be messed with.
Yeah.
Is that what we're getting?
I think so.
All right. So this is the second hamster to be read on KY.
Yeah, but there will never be another Hammy. He was just extremely easy to read for a hamster. Because usually they're just kind of, what you see is what you get.
Well, you got Bean,
with the hamsters.
Bean, you only got the one eye there. If we could get Bean's other
eye. I don't know.
No?
I think that's Bean.
Right,
that's his vibe, and we got it.
And I'm holding to this. I think he's a White Lotus fan. If Lauren comes back and says that he's a White Lotus fan, you guys are, I'm going to start doing readings.
All right. So now we have Alejandra G. And she writes, Our Nebula. She writes, my daughter was going through a really bad depression and she had been asking for a kitten for years. We went to the shelter and she picked Nebula to come with us. During the worst months of her depression, she wanted to leave this earth, but she decided not to because she couldn't leave Nebula behind. She had to go to a hospital for some time. And during that time, Nebula helped me too. She was my companion and stayed with me while I cried myself to sleep. She has been our lifesaver. My daughter is 17 now and thriving, and Nebula is the most spoiled cat. We love her. Nebula is 5 now. Me and my daughter are both purple blue. All right, so I got Nebula's picture just spoke to me, like completely cracked me up. Nebula to me feels extremely aware of her environment. So I get with her. This cat was definitely sent to you guys for a lot of purposes. I feel like one of them was she won't leave people alone. I feel like that is her gift. She's like, what are you doing? What's going on? You know, she feels very sensitive to mood shifts and mood changes. She feels like she's always kind of walking up, you know, checking things out with the family very much. And she feels very alert to a lot of noises and things. I don't know what this, I know all cats love birds, don't get me wrong, but she feels like she has some sort of thing for birds that's like beyond the regular cat thing. And I'm also getting this like weird sound. And I don't know if I was doing a reading, I'd make the sound, but because everybody is listening to this, it would be like really embarrassing for me to make the sound.
Make the sound.
I'm going to do it. It's
all right,
like,
here we go.
It's like chirp or something. I get like that. You know, like some cats do like that.
Yeah.
I get like a sound.
Okay.
And I'm just getting that.
Someone
from
just snorted.
Nebula.
There is a listener somewhere that just snorted.
Are
after
there
you made
people
that.
like,
Oh my God.
they're already dealing with my accent and then they had to hear that. Their ears are bleeding. But yeah, Nebula to me just feels like she, I don't know. She feels like she's a highly caffeinated cat, you know, like if she was a person, it's like, how many energy drinks did you have today,
Okay.
Nebula? She just cracks me up. She's just like, what's going on? What's happening? What's going on?
So we're learning that Mr. Michaela's spiritual family pets love caffeine.
Oh yeah, that's the second one.
The second one today.
Leo mentioned caffeine.
Yeah.
This one just feels like up.
Okay.
Like she's like on something, like,
Yeah.
but not, you know. Anyways, that's Nebula.
Maybe the hamster Bean needs a little caffeine to pep him up so he can come out. But,
Exactly.
all right, let me see who I have next.
All right,
All right,
here we
I
go.
have from Rachel C.
Yes.
And her cat Milo. All right,
Okay.
so my cat Milo is my soul cat. All right. He came to me right after my breakup with my first love and was exactly what I needed to help mend things for me. He's been there for me through so many life events, and I don't know what I could have done without him. 14 now. Oh my, I was 14. Wow. And he watched my firstborn grow up. I love this little big guy so much. And Rachel is indigo and purple.
All right. Milo is
Milo.
great. If this cat could talk,
Yeah.
you know, I feel like Milo's got crap to say. He does not censor it. He's like, listen, you know, this is what's going on. I feel like he's a really good judge of character. That's the first thing. I feel like he feels very stubborn about things. You know, like if he's laying somewhere and you want to lay there, like he's like, no,
That's
and
my
I don't
spot.
care. You know, I feel like he does. There's a picture of Milo with her little baby daughter, and it's just the vibe on Milo. And this is why I love cats. It's kind of like, you know, this was the choice you made, lady, but I'll deal with it because I love you. Like that kind of thing. Such very cat of Milo. But he's also, you know, he likes to make sure, I feel like in this picture, he's like, this little human needs to stay right here on this mat. And we will let this be her space. But again, he's not moving from his stuff. And I feel like anything that's hers, he needed to check out. He's just funny. He's territorial, but to me, feels like an old man. I know he's 14, but I feel like he's always been a bit stubborn, a bit old man. And he kind of just, I don't know. I feel like he would give great advice. I feel like he does give great advice.
Yeah, I mean, he told me that I should send one of my cats over to Rachel's house.
Right. I'm sure.
So he could, like, you know.
Look at this picture.
Yeah,
I got another
he wants
picture
to
of
mentor
Milo.
one of our cats.
Milo's awesome. Like Milo's like one of those cats. It's like love. Like I'd want his approval because I feel like it would mean a lot. Like if that cat likes you,
Yeah.
like you're doing something right.
Okay.
Because he doesn't just give that approval away.
Yeah. That's the story of our lives here with our cats.
Like, he has this like authority that I'm just like really admirable.
Is he a red? Would he be a red too?
I feel like he'd be like a green,
green?
purple or something. Maybe,
purple.
yeah, something like that. Christmas tree guy? I don't know.
Okay. Christmas tree cat. He's a Christmas tree cat.
Christmas tree
Okay. Christmas tree cat.
It just says like, all right, I got one.
Okay.
We have to do a horse. Melissa K. My soul horse, Jack, has saved me in more ways than I could ever count. I am green blue to go. He's gotten me through high school, college, a big move, my first job, out of town wedding planning, marriage, and is getting me through grad school now. He's the best thing that's ever happened to me, and the bond we have is indescribable. He used to protect me from the other horses in the pasture when he was with some pushy ones in the past, and he's definitely saved my butt from under saddle incidents through our time together too. He's taught me so much about life, love, and connection. And it's just like this lovely picture of her on Jack. And I just kind of like, so this is kind of weird because usually I don't get past life stuff, but I do feel like they've known each other before, which is kind of interesting to me. There's something with her and Jack that does not feel just this lifetime. So that's the first thing I get. And then looking at Jack, I get, he feels like he's very self-aware that he's a horse. I said this before. Horses speak most like humans. I don't know why, because I've never had a horse, but they speak very clearly and they project energetically really strong. But anyway, so Jack projects to me this sort of energy where he's aware he's a horse. He's aware that I feel like he understands like she's grown up with him. I feel like he's okay with other horses, but they're not his favorite. You know, he's kind of like one of those people, like he's like a person that would walk, you know, I understand how everyone works, but I prefer to be on my own. Like he feels like a little bit of a lone horse, which is weird because they're pack animals. I feel like I don't know if he has a little pet friend that's not a horse, but I get like another animal around Jack who he prefers or likes, or he has buddies. Oh, and I get an old man around him too. I don't know if this is somebody at the barn, but I get an older man around him and he's quite fond of this guy. And they talk, or he's got friends. He feels like one of those horses that you get to know him. You know, he makes friends.
Is he like me at the gym?
He's kind of like a regular.
You're a regular?
Yeah,
like where I know everyone and talk to everyone?
I wonder if he's been at the same barn a long time or something. Because he's like a regular. Because I get he's kind of like showing me like, those are new ones. I don't like that group over there.
Right.
You know, but like, you know, some older caretaker guy like gives him food and he's like, you're okay. You know, like that.
Does he have a little pig that's a friend?
He's got some animal. There's some animal.
Yeah, because I feel he might have like a little pig friend, and then there's like a spider, and the spider makes like words.
Okay, Charlotte's Web. Yeah. That's really funny. Anyways, Jack feels like you could talk to him and he totally listens.
Okay.
But I also feel like
so describe that one more time. That was interesting. So you're saying like a horse, like actually you hear words, or you is speaking?
No, they're
you say they speak more than other animals.
They're better with the visions. They're better giving me visuals. Like also I get with Jack something with his right side. I don't know, right side. Now, you know, I don't know horse anatomy here, but like where the hip is, like where the hip meets it's like it's a soft part where the hip belly something is. That feels like a sensitivity, or, you know, that could be something like a sensitive side, or that could be the side he protects, or he's a little weird on that side, or he doesn't like when people kind of kick him there or something. I don't know. Like I get like weird stuff. He shows me that like right now it actually tickles in that part of my body.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's
so I'm like,
weird.
what is that? Yeah. So, but they just give me clearer images. Like it's easier for me to like sit in it.
It's so fat.
But then I want to hear obviously from Melissa. I'm like, does this make sense? You know?
Because I mean, here we are. We're sitting in our house, in our living room, on microphones in Boynton Beach. There's just this picture of a horse. Well, I don't know where they lived. Did she say where they live in there? So who could be thousands of miles away from you right now, but somehow you're able to connect to that energy, and that horse is telling you there's something, you know, funny about the side.
Yeah, but some animals talk better than others. No, I know. You know, there's Bean, and then there's Jack.
But I'm just saying, is that pretty wild? I mean,
honestly, it's just energy. Like it's just
but the energy. But
energy is like. Think of energy like a radio wave.
Yeah.
I can hear the radio play even though it's broadcasting really far away. And you know, I can hear an LA radio station right now.
Right.
Because of, you know, radio waves. If I found, you know, an FM radio and I turned it on, I could pick up the radio waves and hear it. It's the same thing.
But this is just a picture.
But but it's just a radio. Everything's energy. So everything just works. That's all. Like when I wrote the psychic workbook, that's what like my whole thing. I'm just trying to tell you guys.
Does this animal know? Let's say even like, let's go with the dogs or the cats, whatever.
Okay.
Does the animal know, like, are they giving the waves back to you?
It's a much better reading when they do. So on the picture like this, probably a little bit more limited. I can, but like when I'm doing a one-on-one reading, then the animals are participating more.
How?
Honestly,
It's like-
a lot of times when I'm doing a reading and we start talking about the dog will bark. And she's like, and people will be like, my dogs are acting up. I'm like, because we're talking about them, or the cat just jumped up. Well, I'm like, because we're talking about them. They know. Like, that's not unusual when I'm doing an actual reading and somebody will be like, oh my God, my dogs are bugging the crap out of me right now. I'm like, no, it's just because we're talking about them like that.
And they know that. Well, it was weird because Bink, when we were talking about the black cat just a few minutes ago, Binks just came down. Milo, the black cat.
Oh, Binks came down?
Binks came down.
Well,
Milo and started
was a big talker.
And he acted weird.
Oh, yeah, you're right. That's weird.
So
yeah, but Milo was more of a talker. Sometimes they participate a little bit. Maybe they can sense me and their energy and they're like, what's this lady doing, or whatever.
Okay, so they know
what's this vibe?
So basically you're saying like Leo knew, like will Leo know at that moment that we talked about him that you were talking to him? Like
yeah,
Leo?
but I think a dog would just kind of, we know it too. Like if you ever just randomly think of somebody and you weren't thinking about them, chances are they were thinking of you and it pinged you.
Right.
So that can happen with animals too. They just wouldn't be so conscious of it at all.
Yeah. Okay.
I
mean, look, I know like all our purples and turquoises and blues, they're not questioning
they're
this.
Like,
this is for like the 3 reds that are listening, okay?
They're like, it's obviously Scott.
And maybe a few greens, okay? So I'm doing this for the red.
It's really not like crazy. That's the thing.
Right.
Like, which is the whole point of our podcast here.
All right. Again, I'm just doing this for the few red guys and the few greens. Okay, here we go.
All right, we got a last one?
This will be my last one,
okay.
Yeah. And I'm going to pick, I got to go with this rabbit.
Okay. Okay.
All right. So Lainey B writes, my rabbit Bunkins. Named by my kid. Okay. I swear was my spiritual familiar and the reincarnation of my cat Smokey, who I had from ages 13 to 30. So Bunkins was the cat Smokey.
Okay.
Right. Bunkins lived 13 years and stayed with me through my kids leaving home, my spouse leaving the marriage, and through COVID when I was living solo some of the time. This rabbit feels extra telepathic since they don't make any sounds.
Mm-hmm.
I'm convinced she stuck around until she was sure I was okay and healed from a tumultuous midlife passage. What an amazing gift. I miss her.
Oh,
so
Bunkins.
Rabbits. So what is that? Rabbits and telepathy. Now, there's only one eye here.
That's okay. I only need one eye.
Okay, you only need one eye. What do you think?
Oh, Bunkins. Yeah, rabbits. I didn't really have rabbits growing up or anything like that. But when I read rabbits, they feel kind of like they feel more wild, like cats, but a little bit more wild, maybe. Even though they look like this Bunkins looks like a Bunkins, like whatever you're picturing. Yep, that's Bunkins. Bunkins to me feels like he was very moved to be around just people or her. So didn't like to be far or knew not to run away or had kind of like a self-awareness, like a good little head on his shoulders. Bunkins did. Let's see. Bunkins to me feels like I get something like with Bunkins wanting to be near, today's about feet, I guess, but like I get Bunkins wanting to be near her feet a lot. I get so I don't know if she would just put him in the grass and she'd sit there and he'd just kind of like, how their little whiskers go on your feet a little like that. But I'm getting that kind of closeness. And with Bunkins, I also feel like Bunkins had favorites for sure. Like who could take care of Bunkins and who couldn't. I feel like Bunkins was very particular about this. And I feel like Bunkins had a lot of particularities is what Bunkins is showing me. So it's actually easier to talk to them when they're dead, by the way, when they've passed, because they can come through a little easier. Bunkins to me feels like he had a lot of particular tastes and wants and needs and stuff. And that to me feels like something that she knew about very well. I think the big thing with Bunkins is I keep calling him he, it's she. She knew that Lainey was paying attention to her. Like Bunkins knew Lainey paid attention, And I think that's the thing about bunnies. Like they kind of know if you know and they know if you don't know. And I think when people are like, well, bunnies are like nothing or they're not fun pets or they're not interactive. I think they are if they know that you know. Does that make sense? Like if they know that you're aware, or if they know you're paying attention, or if you know if they know that you are tuned in, then they'll respond.
Yeah.
But anyways, Lainey is, just looking at her, is the type that definitely can tune into these kind of subtleties, and Bunkins knew that.
Right, so they had telepathic conversations.
Well, that's how animals talk.
Yeah.
So animals speak that way. They speak telepathically.
I mean, I have so many questions, and I'm just speaking on behalf of the Reds and the Greens and stuff. Like, where does it end? Like we're going down the line, right? We go from horse. I don't want to put like an animal hierarchy, but we'll put like the horses.
Hamsters are hard,
and then we'll put like
hamsters are really hard.
You got your dogs, you got your cats, you got your bunnies.
Yeah,
you got the hamsters. Like where are we going down to like flies? Like you know what I mean? Frogs, salamanders, or like, could you get met? Like, is that possible? Like, messages come from like a crawfish?
Okay. I think with animals, and I don't know all the answers.
I know, and I don't really even need an answer to this.
I think that's a great answer. I think that's a great question.
It's so mind-boggling to me.
I think when animals are around humans, they start to mirror and pick up the exchange. And if they don't have to be around humans, then they don't have to do that. Like wild animals, for example, like when I'm watching nature documentaries, right, or even at like national parks and we see them or whatnot. These animals are wild. Like they have no need to exist in our telepathy range. Like they don't have a need to send us a message. So they don't. There's like a boundary.
Okay.
And they are only talking to each other and communicating with each other and communicating on the vibration of nature. Which is why I think like when humans go into their space, it's like a whole different way of viewing things or having a perception. So a lot of the animals we're talking about today have walked into our perception, have walked into our reality, have walked into our space, and they are just adept at kind of, moving around in there so that we can have that kind of relationship with them and they can have it with us. I think one of the most beautiful things about having an animal is that they attempt to connect with you. Like that's something that they know they're doing. They know it's different than communicating with other animals and they want to. So they're trying. That's not, it's not natural for them to come into our world and always think the way we're thinking. And it's probably the most annoying thing about humans. We think everybody thinks like we do, and we expect everything to think like we do. And that's not true. Like nature is a whole separate way of perceiving things that if we stepped into that more, then we could have a lot more interactions than the one we do. But anyways, I guess my point is on the level in which I'm talking today, like if you have a pet snake, 100% you're telepathically communicating with that snake because that snake has entered your realm of perception and energy exchange. But if you go into the woods and you're seeing a snake, that snake's not trying to talk to you.
Okay. It's just trying to bite you.
It's just like, well, you're in its world now.
Right.
Right. Like that's why people are so stupid. Like they go out and try to, like that, what's that Wild Man documentary where he was going out with the bears?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. The guy that Timothy Treadwell.
He went out. Oh my God, you want to watch he was going out with bears. Thought he was personifying these grizzly bears and putting the grizzly bears' lives in danger, honestly,
right, because
he stayed too long into hibernation. It's awful what happened to him. Okay. And you all can imagine what happened to him.
But he did go back for many years. So
he did.
Actually, this is a fascinating thing that you bring up.
Yeah.
So do you think, and of course, and by the way, I don't know if you watched the documentary. It's an old documentary.
It's old, but spoiler alert.
He does get
the bear ate him.
The bear ate him.
It's not funny. It's not funny. But it's just so awful.
Right, but he had been going back to these places in Alaska for many, many years.
Yeah.
And every year nothing happened to him except for the final year.
Yeah.
When they said it was like the bears were a little bit hungrier that year. So and he had this also fox.
Well, he stayed longer, right. Into their they were hungry.
Yeah, they said it was like a lean lean year for them or something. Yeah. But anyway, so maybe those bears, and there was a fox that would follow around year to year.
Yes.
So maybe he was speaking with those bears because like now that there's a breakdown, they're not his pet, but maybe he thought they were like the pet. But now that he got into their space, you're saying your theory is that they could then.
He was in their space.
Yeah, year after year.
Year after year after year.
Yeah.
So obviously, like, they were like, okay, you're part of our environment. We get your deal.
Right.
But then he actually stepped out of their space because he stayed longer that time.
Right.
And so all of a sudden it's like, actually, the rules are bending now, and this is how it works. But it's different.
That does make a lot of sense because, like, when you see, like, people that deal with, let's say, like alligators, and they do like the shows and things like that, which is terrible. I don't agree with any of this stuff.
Yeah.
Or sharks, even, where divers will go and track the same sharks.
Yeah.
Maybe at some point they are now communicating. So like the diver is communicating with the bull shark, which maybe you don't think could ever be possible.
Well, they're entering a space
in
a different way. Like when you're entering the water at 7 p.m., on a sandbar,
right?
The communication is this: you just entered my dinner time. Versus when they go into a different kind of location and enter in a different way, then it's kind of there's an exchange of information with these animals that's different. But that's hard to do. Yeah. It's hard. Like, you have to be really aware that you're doing it, or you're entering the space, or you're communicating a certain thing differently. But that's on their terms now.
But it does happen.
But if you start thinking like them, it's a different conversation than them thinking like you. So all these animals, they all have an ability to communicate. Right. It's just as humans. So like the stuff I pick up is very humanish because that's the game we're all playing. When we have a pet.
Yeah. I mean, we all saw that octopus teacher.
Oh my God.
With Netflix a few years back.
Oh yeah.
And this guy was able to.
We talked about that.
Yeah, we talked about it a long time ago, but he was able to communicate with an octopus.
Dude, I don't eat octopus, but like I don't know how you could after watching that.
Nah, I don't know how you could before.
They're so sweet.
It looked.
That octopus was so sweet.
Yeah.
And but there was a lot going on.
There was a lot. They crossed boundaries. Okay, so let's.
I always wanted to see the documentary from like the wife's point of view.
Yeah. No, this man was in love with that.
He's like, I'm going out again.
They were Jumanji friends.
That's what you think?
I think so. I'm pretty sure. I mean,
this took a weird turn.
I don't know if it took a weird turn.
This took a weird turn.
Getting a little punchy here, but the octopus did have babies.
It did.
And I'm not convinced I'm pretty.
Who the father was?
Yeah, the father.
Go watch it on Netflix. It is like such a good documentary.
It's an old one. We mentioned a couple old documentaries.
And we did. And Timothy Treadwell, he got that one. That one's crazy.
That one's
crazy.
That was crazy.
Like, that one's just. What are you doing, dude?
I forgot the name of it, but I know the guy was named Timothy.
Isn't it like Hunter Man or
I forget
something?
Yeah, I think it's still on.
No, it is
Netflix. Yeah,
a great soundtrack.
Yes.
Okay, this podcast is for you and about you, and we're so glad you spent some time with us today.
Hello, podcast fans. If you're looking for a new podcast, if you enjoy articles, books, pop culture, and hilarity, try listening to the Brain Candy Podcast.
That's right. The Brain Candy Podcast has over 500 episodes of educational hilarity to satiate your learning needs. Just search for the Brain Candy Podcast on your podcast app or click the link in the show notes.
Find yourself looking for a new job or change in career? Monster.com is here to help. We are not only here to bring you job postings, but also AI interview prep and salary tools, expert career advice, and top-notch resume services. We've got everything you need to land your perfect job fit. Discover the magic of finding the ideal job with Monster.com. Your future starts now. Visit Monster.com today. Your next job opportunity is just a click away.